everybody, Jen from Scrapping Under the Influence. I am here with a new project for the design team at Doodlebug, and I have taken what has got to be the best odds and ends piece of all time, and I have sized it up for the cover of my folio. So this is the Tinsel Time collection. Has totally replaced Milk and Cookies as my favorite Doodlebug Christmas collection of all time. This one is pretty much perfect. Like, it's got just the best elements in it. It's so much fun. And as soon as I saw it, I knew this is what I wanted to do for the cover of an album. So I've got a folio for you today. It is 6 by 8, so it's not super huge, but this will hold a ton of pictures. I did make the little fireplace into a little shaker, and I will show you in the tutorial exactly how to do that. And this is made so this will stand up like this on a shelf as a decor piece as well as an album. So let's go ahead and untie our sides. First up, when you open it up, you've got a nice photo spot here. Up above that, I've got a small waterfall hidden inside this little book. I wanted to showcase the odds and ends pieces that were like all of the tree elements because I absolutely thought that was so much fun. I totally remember having to put icicles on the tree when I was a kid. And it was just too fun. And my mom still has ornaments like this, and I love them, and they're amazing. Anyway, when we open it up like so, up on the top here, we have a flip book, and this just goes page by page. I did mat this one with the 6x6 pad because it was just ideal. And then underneath here, you've got a photo spot that is open so you can tuck your picture up underneath there. And then this all closes up with a magnet. In the center section here, we've got one of the super cute cut-aparts. Plenty of pictures here, spots for pictures here, and of course everything is left open so you can tuck underneath. We've got more spots here, and again, open to put your pictures back there, space here and here, and then we've got a nice big pocket in here that you can add your pictures, extra pictures to as well. And then this all flips to one side. You got a nice big picture spot here and here. This opens up. We've got a tuck spot that I glued on to the wrong side, apparently. But that's okay, because you could put a small picture here and then tuck a couple things in there, and it would work just fine. Big picture spot there. This flap opens up this way. You've got another big picture spot. There is the super cute odds and ends piece that was the inspiration. And then we've got another big pocket here for extra pictures. So this all folds back together like so. This comes down and this comes up, and then you tie it, and it goes back onto your shelf as a super cute decor piece that also holds memories of Christmases. So, as always, I have a full tutorial on this, including how I sized this up and what I did with this file in Design Space, just because my silhouette will not cut chipboard, so I'm stuck with Design Space for most of this. As always, free tutorial starts next. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, be notified when I post new projects, and let's get to it. Okay, so I have uploaded my Santa in the fireplace cut file. I just need to figure out what size. Right now I've got it at 9 inches wide, which I think is going to be way wider than I want. I do want to look at one little thing first. I don't think it's its own piece, though. Okay, it isn't. I want to see how big this opening here is. So what I'm going to do is just grab a square, and I'm going to come over here. I'm going to size it until it's about, okay, so that's 4 by 4. So I could go smaller than I was thinking. Okay, so I don't want this any wider. If I go 6 inches wide, that makes it 4.5 inches, a little over 4.5 inches high. which I think is smaller than I would like. 7 by 5, but I don't know if that's going to be too small too. Maybe that's why I had it the size I had it. Okay, we're going to go with that. We're going to go with 6 inches high. However, we don't want to cut all of these little houses. Okay, we don't want to cut the stockings because we're going to use pieces out of the odds and ends to fill those spots in when we actually like cut and assemble this. And I've got a huge mess going on here. Let me just double check really quickly. So the actual odds and ends piece itself is about 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. So, of course, ours is going to be bigger than that. And the little stockings are 1 by 2 approximately. So let's find one of those stocking pieces. Just saw one. And it is about the size we need. So this is the size we're going to go with. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ungroup. Okay. This means now all of these little pieces move individually. Which I'm going to delete that one anyway, so that's fine. Okay. So I don't want that. That was really creepy. I apologize. There is like just some random stuff that Design Space now does as far as like how things it used to be much easier to drag things, and now it's not quite as intuitive, which has been a source of annoyance. So, but anyway, that's a whole other thing. I do want that little garland. I do want that piece. I don't want any of this because I will take, I'll use the little stockings that are part of the odds and ends. I'll use some of the shape sprinkles for this, and we're going to use either the mini icons or the icon sticker sheet for all of this up here. So I am going to delete all of that. Okay. This is sized where we want it. I am going to duplicate it so I've got one that is sized where I want it that I haven't messed with. And I know we've talked about that. So that piece we're going to leave. This one is fine. This one is fine. These are fine. Of course, Santa's fine because it's the whole reason I couldn't just like do this without it because his hat wasn't like hanging down. I don't know. That's me being crazy. Anyway, okay, so this base piece that has all of these little outlines, we're going to leave this as is. I could come in here and take different shapes and line them up and drag them out across and slice them to remove those things like so. I could do that. If you want to go ahead and do that, fine, go right ahead. You would do the same thing on these two little side pieces. Honestly, this one is a simple enough design. It's not a big deal to do that. Sometimes to try and like get rid of these little things hanging out like that with other designs is a little bit trickier, but I'm going to leave it because this piece is just going to be cardstock. So once it cuts, it can cut the way it's going to cut, and then I can take it in the paper trimmer and I can see exactly where I need to trim it off at. And then it's not, we don't end up trimming too much or not enough or whatever the case may be. So I'm going to go ahead and undo my little slice there and close my shape tray. Okay, so this one I'm going to group and then I'm going to hide because he's there. We know he's good. This is all we're going to cut. So this piece is going to be just the cardstock. This piece I want to duplicate because this is the piece I'm going to use to build up some dimension on my fireplace. Okay, So I'm going to copy this one and I'm going to paste it. I think I decided 3 of them. Okay, so one of these will be the light gray cardstock. These 3 will be chipboard. So I'm going to change their color. And again, if I was just doing this and not showing you how to do this, I wouldn't even bother with this step because I know what I'm trying to accomplish here. But if you have never worked with the files and tried to manipulate them, to use them, to either size them up or do something different with them, that can be a little bit confusing when you actually go to cut and it puts all of those things on the same mat because they're all gray. So that's all good to go. There is nothing else on here that we need to change at this time. So I'm going to save it. Doodlebug, Santa in fireplace. And we're going to save it. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut this. So when we go to our mat screen, it's showing us 10 mats. So here's all of our white pieces, dark gray, light gray, the other dark gray, which for some reason is different than this one. I don't know why. We're going to move this one to the other dark gray mat because even though it's showing a different color, there's really not a different gray, at least that I have in my Doodlebug cardstock. So, all right, so those 2 will cut together. That's for his face, and then here's our pieces for our mantle, and I was really hoping we could get 3 of them on one. And it's not going to happen, so that's okay. We will just cut, oops, chipboard twice, it's fine. Okay, seriously? Like, I know it doesn't fit. Do you really have to pop it back over? Like, I can't see it and drag it? Okay. Again, there's just some odd things that Cricut has done in recent years that just drive me crazy with this, but that's okay. All right, so there's Santa. There's the little dot for the top of his hat. We are going to move that to the lighter red with Santa's like base pieces. And now we should be down to 8 mats instead of 10, which really for something like this, 10 mats is not a lot. So I am going to go ahead and cut this and then we will assemble it and continue on with our project. Okay, so I have all of our pieces cut. First thing we're going to do is we're going to mess with this gray piece. So like I said, because it is a fairly straightforward piece to trim up, all I'm going to do is just slide up if I can. And then I'm just going to trim these off. Just like that. Okay. Okay, this thing, I just cleaned this and it's still just like super sticky and I'm not sure why. Okay. And you could do this with scissors. I just know how I am with scissors and that would not be a good idea. And honestly, this one, because it's going to go underneath, if I cut off a little bit extra on there, it's going to be fine. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put that with that and set it aside. Okay, so chipboard. I am using black chipboard so that I don't have to worry about if I don't end up covering my raw edges, it will still look okay. I ended up cutting 4 of them, partially because apparently Cricut mats, even when you're not using them, will lose their stickiness. So this one only cut through part way and I manually cut out the rest. And then I cut an extra one just in case and decided I do actually want to use it. So first thing we're going to do, let's get the glue gunk off the tip of my glue gun. We are going to go ahead and just glue these together. Just stack them up, glue them up edge to edge. Okay, there's two together. And do try to get them as even as you can. Okay, last one. And then I'm actually going to set something heavy on top so that they can really get good and sandwiched together. There's my post-it note thing. Okay, so I'm going to let that sit for just a minute. While that is sitting, we are going to take a piece of acetate, and this is just a scrap, and it is 4 5/8. You could go 4 1/2, obviously, and that would be fine. And then we need it to be, I don't remember how high. We're going to say 8 1/2. Okay. So I'm going to cut this to 8 1/2. And then we need to score this. So we are going to use this trimmer today for a little bit until I get irritated with it, because that's usually what happens. Because I just like how sturdy it is. But yeah, that's a whole discussion for another day. So we are going to score this at 4 and 4 1/4. And you want to really get in there. Okay. And I need my other stylus. It's not going to work with that plastic one. Okay. So 4, 4 1/4. Okay. Easy enough. All right, so then I'm going to fold and burnish my score lines. So there's one. There's the other. Okay. So that's good. Now, we are going to take score tape, and we are going to go around on, I don't know that there's a right side and a wrong, or front and a back on this. Let me just double check. Okay, so it looks like there's just a hair of a difference. Honestly, probably wouldn't be noticeable, but we are going to do our score tape around the edge of our there's my better one. The edge of our fireplace. Okay. I'm going to go ahead, get the backing off. Okay. And what we're going to do is we are going to slide this so that our 1/4 inch scored area is running across the bottom. Okay. And then burnish this down. Okay. So now we can flip it over. We can do the exact same thing on this side. You want to make sure that the score tape is not overhanging into the opening of our fireplace, because you don't want your shaker stuff catching on it. Okay, so now we are going to use the Jolly Holly shaker fill. We don't need a ton of it. Let's see. Oops, there went a piece of holly. Okay, trying to get this all kind of up to one area. There we go. That should be good. So the biggest thing now is going to be making sure you're pulling this tight. We could actually put a little bit of glue on this bottom edge. I don't want to do that, just in case we end up not, because I'll probably cover the edge of this, most likely. It's rare that I don't end up covering edges on these type of things, but just in case. So we are going to go ahead and get our backing off. I'm just pulling that up tight and then down. And burnish. You want to make sure this is nice and adhered. And there's our shaker fireplace. So now we're going to take that dark gray piece that we trimmed. That's going on the back. I kind of, and I'm not going to put it on here just yet because I kind of almost want to put a pattern paper back here, but I can't think which one I would use out of this collection. Possibly, actually I do kind of know. Hold on. Let me grab my 6x6. The one I was kind of thinking would maybe be this one, so the back side of the Santa paper. But I think that's going to cause Santa to get kind of lost, so I don't think I'm going to do that. I think we're going to go with it as is. So I'm going to turn this over. And like I said, this one's slightly smaller, so it's going to be fine any way we do this. And yes, you can glue on acetate. I wouldn't do it building a shaker, but for something like this, it's absolutely fine. Okay. Now we can turn it over. We have our light gray piece that's going to go on like so. We have our white for our fireplace, and that's where the bricks come through, is the holes in the white for the gray. We've got these two pieces that are going to go on like so. We have our little dark gray garland, and then we've got our Santa. So I'm going to set this much aside for right now. We're going to work on our little Santa because he does have a few very small pieces, not a ton, but just so you know how to put one of these together, because it can be kind of disconcerting the first time you do one of these and you have this and this. Okay, this goes back behind that lighter tan for his eyes. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue those two together. Okay, so that's going to sit back behind like so. For the most part, these are fairly easy to do. Like things, line up okay. Without a whole lot of extra work on your part. Okay. And then that, I believe, did I do that up too far? I may have done that up too far. I'm gonna have to recut him, I think. Not sure. Hold on. I'm gonna have to look because I'm not honestly sure on this one. Yeah, I'm gonna have to recut this little black piece because, well, I don't know. Maybe I can make it work. Okay, so that's gonna go on there. This is supposed to go further down than what I was actually putting it. Sorry, it's been a while since I've done one with a face like this, so I apologize. Yeah, it's supposed to go down more like this. Oh, I wonder if I turn it over. Duh, hello. We can just turn it over. It will be fine. Okay, so I'm actually going to line that one up like so. Okay. So I'm going to put a teensy bit of glue on either side of that little opening. And it's going to go like so. Okay. This one will then go in that space. Okay. But I am going to glue this piece down first. So we will just line up the scalloped areas like so. And then this will go down on here. Okay. And then we've got his little mustache is going to go like this. Okay. You could use some thin foam tape if you wanted to. Honestly, I think they end up being sufficiently dimensional just like this. Okay, so we do have two very, very tiny eyebrow pieces, which is why I have the tweezers out, because otherwise I will never get these attached. Okay. That one goes there. I gotta find my other one. There it is. Okay. And then we've got three more little white pieces. So we've got the little puff ball, which honestly I think I've got some like little puffy balls about this size that I might end up on the final one covering that with one of those. But for now, we're good. Okay, so this little red is going to be his nose. And that's going right there. And he won't look odd. Okay. And then his little gloves, if I can pick him up, are going to go apparently not where I want them to go. They are going to go on here, and then those little white cuffs will go across the bottom. Okay. There we go. And that goes right across the bottom. Okay. If you have, I know I just saw that somewhere when I was cleaning up some stuff the other day. If you have like any of that puffy kind of paint, you could do that on like his little cuffs and on his hat. But there is our Santa. Here's our little gray piece that's going to go on there later. I'm going to put him back in there for now and move that to the side because I don't want to put that together just yet. And I don't want to put those white pieces on just yet. I'm going to go ahead and glue our gray on here just so that we can go ahead and build our cover and get this placed, and then we can worry about decorating the mantle and getting Santa in here and everything. If you ever do something like this and you end up with some kind of gunk on your acetate, all you want is rubbing alcohol, and that will clean just about anything off of your acetate. Just like that easy. Okay, let me go ahead and glue this guy on, because that's the other nice thing is the way this Santa goes on, because he's of course going to be on top there. He fits exactly in that curve, so we don't have to worry about putting him on just yet. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put the gray on, and then we will build our cover. Okay. There we go. Okay, set this aside for now, but there's our shaker. All right, let's do our cover next. Okay, so for our base, you need 5 pieces of chipboard, 2 pieces 8 by 6, 1 8 by 5 7/8. This will make sense in a minute. We're going to turn these sideways so I can get all of them in frame. 1 piece 8 by 1 1/4, 1 piece 8 by 1, because this is going to fold into this. This will fold up, and this way your little album will stand as a decor piece and also somewhere to put your pictures. Okay. So let's start with our 2 8 by 6 pieces. Grab my scoreboard. Oh, excuse me. I don't know where that came from. Probably me sucking down coffee too fast. Okay, I did 3 pieces of cardstock that are 10 by 8. I wasn't going to shave off 1/8 of an inch when we're going to wrap it for this, so that would be why. Okay, so I need 1-inch spacers. If you don't have the spacers, they are available at Country Craft Creations. If you don't have them though, it's fine, because the way this goes together, you can lightly score and use that to kind of eyeball where your chipboard needs to go down. It will be absolutely fine. You can make these out of chipboard scraps. Any of that works. Okay, I have covered the back in tape. And down it goes. Okay. We're just going to repeat this process with our other two cover pieces. Again, if you don't have the spacers, it's absolutely fine. This will still work. You can just kind of eyeball, center it up, good enough. And our last big piece, and then we will do our two spine pieces. Okay. Spine pieces, you want 1 inch at the top, you want 1.5 inches on the side. So again, like I said, you can absolutely just like score it and eyeball it. It's fine. Okay, so for our 1x8 piece, your cardstock for that is going to be 10x4. Okay. For your 1¼ by 8 piece, your cardstock is going to be 4¼ if I can pick it up. Oh my lord. 4¼ by 10. Okay. Move these out of the way. We are done with spacers. We're going to move the scoreboard for a minute. We will want that back. You also need 2 pieces that are going to be 6 by 7 7/8. These are going to be our reinforcement pieces. You're going to cover those with tape as well. Okay, so what we're going to do now is wrap our chipboard. So I'm going to use the chipboard to fold this around and burnish this down. Okay, same thing again this way and this way. Okay. If you are new to mini albums, I do have a mini album 101 series where we go through very slowly the steps on how to build an album cover using the lay flat method, which is what we're using here. It is definitely easier than other methods that are out there. And we go through the hows and whys of all of the different basic steps of building a mini album from scratch. Okay. All right. Let's start with our 2 little spine pieces. Okay, so what we're going to do is remove this square out of these corners. Okay, this is how I do mine. I'm going to fold it over and I'm going to miter this like so and like so. Okay, and then I'm going to go in and miter again. We're going to do that on both of these pieces, and then we're going to do the same thing on both of our cover pieces as well. Both. There's 3 cover pieces. All 3 cover pieces.
do it like this. I tend to do all similar steps together. That's just what works best for me. If you wanted to complete each one of these pieces one at a time, you absolutely could do that. But I prefer to, do all my mitering at once and then do all of my wrapping and then construction. That's just what works for me. Go. And there we go. Okay. So I'm going to take my spine pieces and I am going to do tape on the ends. Like so. Okay. Then I'm going to take my glue get the backing off of my tape. This is just a vinyl weeding tool from Amazon. I have a link on the main page on my YouTube page to my Amazon affiliate page. If you want to grab those. Okay. All we're doing is putting glue along the edge of the chipboard in the rest of that little center there, and then folding it up, over, and burnishing it down. Okay. There we go. Over and down. Okay. I'm going to turn both of these pretty side up. We are going to burnish along the edge of that chipboard to really define where this needs to go. Okay. So when you do that, it will now lay nice and flat as opposed to being kind of bouncy. Okay. Then I'm going to take my tape again and I'm going to go along this outside edge on both of these. Okay. All right. Now we are going to wrap our cover pieces. So first thing I'm going to do is go around the outside edge on all three of these with my tape like so. And then to wrap them, it's going to be the same thing we did for the ends of our our spine pieces, only we're going to wrap all four sides. Okay. There we go. right. So I'm going to go ahead and just very quickly burnish these down. And that's mostly so that when I go to pull the backing off of them, I don't pull the tape up, because I'm really good at doing that. Okay. All right, so all you're going to do is take the backing off of your tape, if it wants to cooperate, which mine clearly does not. Okay, you're going to run glue along the edge of the chipboard, up in that open area, and then again, you're going to burnish up against the side of the chipboard. So all you're doing is pushing the cardstock up to the chipboard, fold it over, burnish it down. You can just continue around. I like to do opposite sides, but that's just me. You absolutely don't have to do it that way. Okay. And there we go. You have a cover piece ready to go. Okay. All right, I'm just going to do the same process on my other two pieces. And then we will assemble this. And start working on our inside elements. Okay. Oh, no, let's not do that. See, that's what I told you. What I always end up doing. Okay. All right. So there is all of our cover pieces. So now what we want is, I'm going to grab my, well, hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Okay, I numbered these. So we've got 1, 3, 5. There's 4. There's 2. Okay, I'm going to stack these in the order that they need to go. Okay, so those 3 I'm going to set aside. These are our first 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that. I'm actually going to turn it. No, we're not going to do it that way because I think that's going to be more confusing where there's more pieces to this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is fold this over and just kind of burnish it down. I'm going to get my backing off of my tape. And I'm going to get glue on that space. Okay, so I'm going to take this, No, I think I am going to go ahead and do it in the scoreboard, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently. So I'm going to put this in the top corner of the scoreboard, because what this is going to do, I can now take my other piece and use that corner of the scoreboard to ensure I get it lined up exact. Okay, that's where I was kind of going. Normally I would have turned it and done it this way, but where we have a progression of how these need to go together, that was probably not the best idea to do it. Turn it the way I normally would, but you kind of get the idea. So next one is going to be piece number 3. So we're going 1, 2, 3. We're going to take our backing off. We're going to do the same thing again. We're going to get all of our glue in there. We're going to line up in this corner. And it's like, wait a minute, that's backwards. And same thing again. We're going to lay it right back down. Okay. So now, as you can see, we're running out of space on the scoreboard. So we're going to go ahead and do this one next. So again, same thing. We're going to fold this over. Okay. So this one will go here. This one will go here. Okay. Get the backing off. Add my glue. Hold that down. And that one's down. Okay. So for our last one, we're going to go as close to that end as we can. We are going to pop that off. Glue. And again, we're going to use that scoreboard to get everything lined up. Okay. All right. So everything is attached. I go ahead and burnish this down. And then we've got our 2 reinforcement pieces. Again, these are 6 by 7 7/8. Okay. Back is covered completely in tape. This one I can see I've got tape hanging over the end, which I do not want. So I'm going to go ahead and very carefully trim that off, maybe. Okay. All right. So all I'm going to do, get the backing off of my tape, line it up, and drop it down. Okay, so now we are going to fold up and burnish that spine into place. Okay, come up and over, and I'm going to pinch. This is just going to set it into place, and this one did get a little like funky. I'm not sure why. But that's okay. It will not matter in the long run. I'll do the same thing on this one. Okay, up and over. So this will close together like so. We are going to, I think I'm going to do a ribbon closure on the sides here, but our little fireplace will go here, and this will open up like so. okay? So let me get our inside elements together and I'll be right back. Okay, so for our elements inside our book, first thing we're gonna do, so, okay, this is the front. No, it's not. It goes like this. This is the front where our fireplace is gonna go, okay? So when it's all put together, this will open down. We're gonna do this piece here first. So what I've done is I've matted my very back and this piece, because it is, if you're using a directional paper like I did, that's what you're going to want to pay attention to. So to do this piece right here, we're going to leave this folded like this so we know for sure how we're putting this together, okay? So I'm going to move that out of the way for just a minute. I'm going to grab my scoreboard. So we have 4 pieces that are 4 by 5. With the 4-inch at the top, we are going to score these at 1/2 inch. Okay. Okay. And then I have one piece that is 5 by 10 and 1/8. We are going to score this at 5 and 5 and 1/8. So we're going to have a very small gusset because this is going to be a waterfall, but it's going to go in like so, and then this is going to fold over the top of it to close it off, okay? So if you are new to waterfalls, a good way to build that, to learn how to build them and to get them so that they're even, is to build them on a base, which is what we're doing here. Okay, so I'm going to, actually I'm not going to fold those score lines yet. We're just going to worry about our score lines on our flaps. So I'm just going to fold over and burnish all of these. Earth was that? Weird. Okay, so I typically will build my waterfalls upside down, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my first piece. We are going to get the gunk off the tip of the glue bottle. We're going to glue our first piece down. Okay. That's going to go right out here to the edge. It's going to be the same top to bottom. I'm going to burnish it down. Okay, fold it back. The next one goes right up against the edge of that tab that we glued. Okay. And because we're building it on a base, we can very easily visually make sure that it's going straight. Okay, next piece. Well, this may be our last piece. I might have measured something wrong here, because I don't think that last one's going to fit, but I have a trick for that, so we'll be okay. Okay. Again, we're going to make sure we are lined up where we are supposed to be. Okay, so then this one typically would go here, but I can see that I'm going over my score line. So I either scored this wrong. I absolutely did. I started on the wrong. Aha, I didn't score it wrong. I started on the wrong side. But you're going to fix this. So you're going to want to make sure yep, that's exactly what I did. Okay, you're going to want to make sure when you do this, you're starting on your bigger side when you go to build your waterfall. Okay? But since I know what I did wrong here, okay, hold on, sorry. I'm going to just add in another score line here since I know what I did wrong. And if I had gone ahead and folded it like I was initially going to do, I would have figured out what I did. Okay, so there we go. All right, so this one, our last one, rather than put it like this again, where we're going to have that tab, what we're going to do is put it on top of the prior piece. This is still not quite right, is it? Yeah, I still am off, and I'm not even sure why. That is so weird. I don't know. It's fine. Easily fixable. If I had just started on the right end, it wouldn't have been a problem, but that's okay. I haven't done one this way for a while, so I apologize. Okay, so this one, we're going to go on top of the prior tab. Same thing, you're still going to line it up the same way, so this will all fold together like so, and then this will fold over the top of it with a gusset. Okay, so it will all fold up like so. We are going to add a magnet. And I'm going to add the magnet as soon as I figure out where my magnets went. Oh, no. Oh, it's not supposed to be there. Okay. Most of the time I get my magnets from Total Element. Okay, so that's where that's going to go. All right, so that is ready to go in, whoops, right here. Okay, I also did add my ribbon just so that I made sure it got added because I'm very, very good at forgetting to add the ribbon and then having to come up with alternate methods of closure. So I remembered to do it ahead of time this time. All right, so this is just going to go on here. I'm not going to glue this yet because I might end up tucking some odds and ends pieces on the sides here, but you're just going to glue that down centered right there. And that's why we have that bigger gap between this spine and the bottom spine, is so that we can decorate that page. Okay, so that's going to go there. Down here, I'm just going to do a very simple layout. So I will mat that and decorate that later on after I decide what I'm doing for the rest of this. But that's how that one's going to go. So let's move on to the inside. Okay. So first element is going to go on this top part up here. So I have, actually I'm not sure how many I ended up cutting. I think I've got 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I have 8 pieces that are 6 by 5.5, which now that I say that seems wrong. No, it's right. Sorry, I had to think for a second there because that was just like not what I was thinking I was doing. Okay, so with the 6" at the top of the scoreboard, we are going to score each one of these at 1/2 inch. Okay. Okay. So all of these we are going to fold and we're going to stack them together. Okay. So what I mean by that is we're going to fold and burnish that score line. Fold and burnish the next one and glue one on top of the other. Okay. So there's a couple of ways that we can go about attaching these together. And every time I do one of these little flip elements like this, the way I prefer to do it is to kind of stack them all like so, do glue on everything except this last one, and then sandwich them together. Okay. However, I don't think I want to do it that way this time, and I'll tell you why. We want to make sure that these are stacked perfectly. So what I'm going to do is do them one at a time. So you could put these here, you could put them to the bottom, you could put them to either side. It's entirely up to you. I am going to center it on the top here. And I am going all the way to the top. And then I will move my glue to the right side so I'm not reaching across myself. And then get the next one. And so on and so forth. And burnish. This way I am visually ensuring that they all line up exactly. Instead of squishing them and then going, oh, this one's slightly off, which doesn't usually happen depending on how you do it, but you do have to kind of clip them together and let them sit dry for a while, which I don't want to do. This way, I'm doing them individually, I'm burnishing in between, and I'm ensuring that they dry the way I want them to. Okay, how many have I got here now? 3, 4, 5, 6. Honestly, stop with 6. So not 8 of them, we're going to do 6 of them, okay? Next up, I have a piece that is 2 inches by, I think I went 7.5, which is probably most definitely longer than I need to. So I am actually going to take this down to 2 by 6. With the 6 inch at the top of your scoreboard, you're going to score it 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch. Okay. We are going to miter and fold and burnish. Okay, this is going to go down here. We want to make sure that when we put this on, we're not going too far into that space next to the spine. So I am going to put glue on it. I am going to center it. And since I did measure on my other one, I should measure on this one, make sure I'm actually going centered, and glue that one down. Okay, we're good there. So I'm going to, honestly, I could cut another inch off of that, and I think I'm going to. Oh, where's the lighter weight trimmer? Okay, I'm going to take another inch off of that because that is way longer than I was planning it to be, which is fine. It's not the end of the world, but that I think is going to be better. We are going to, oh my god, these magnets are going to be the death of me. I have like these little tiny ones I was using on something else, and they're just like in the way everywhere I put them. Okay, so we're going to add magnets on here as well. This time I'm going to do it right in the middle there, and I'm actually going to do this one on the top, like so. And then I most likely, not positive yet, I will most likely mat this, that's too long, with the 6x6 pad, but I'm not sure. I don't know yet. We'll see. And that one's good to go. I do have my matting for that cut. I did mat this one that's just going to be like our little layout page. I'll flip this back and go ahead and mat underneath this with the super cute collage paper. And then too, the way this one goes together, I could do another, like a big photo mat underneath this whole thing, because this is going to be small, but it's going to have room for tons of pictures. So, whoops, no, this way and this way. There we go. Okay. All right, this middle section down here, I do have my matting ready for that. I'm going to set that aside for right now. And I'm going to grab my scoreboard again. This ribbon like being everywhere like this is making me crazy. But it's okay. So this is 6.5 by 6 7/8. So the 6.5 at the top is where we're going to start. We're going to score at 1/2 inch. I'm going to turn it a quarter turn and go 1/2 inch. Turn it to the opposite side and go 1/2 inch again. Okay. I then have a piece that is 4 by 5 7/8. With the 4 inch at the top, we're going to score this one at 1/2 inch. Okay. I then have a couple of flaps. This is 5 7/8 by 8.5. I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch and 5/8. My next piece is 8 by 5 7/8, and I'm going to score this one at 1/2 inch and 5/8. Okay. I set those two to the side for right now. Move that. Okay, so our pocket, I'm going to cut across where those score lines cross on the bottom, and then I'm going to miter at the top. And then I'm going to miter on here. So this will be like the flap on the pocket. We're going to set that aside for a second. And I'm going to take my other 2 flaps and I'm going to miter on both of these because we want to attach these and the flap for our pocket and then mat, and then we'll put our pocket down. Everything else that goes in this book will go on top of these 2 flaps. Okay, so you just need to decide with your longer one which direction you want it coming from. Okay, so I do think I want it coming from the left hand side over here. So I am going to fold and burnish both of my score lines, even my little tiny 1/8 inch one, just to make sure I get it good and attached the way I want it. And take the backing off of my tape that's holding my ribbon down. I think I need to refill this again. And we're going to center this over here and right up against that edge. Okay. This is almost empty. Well, no, not quite. Okay, it's just gunked up. That's okay. We can fix that. That's easy. I'm going to, well, maybe I am. Okay, that one's gunked up pretty good too. So we're just going to do it this way. There we go. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead with our other larger flap, fold and burnish both lines on that. Those little 1/8 inch gussets can be a little bit tricky at times, but this all closes up just fine, which is why we went 1/8 of an inch smaller, to make sure we weren't going to have any issues with this running into there we go, much better. So we wouldn't have any issues with it running into our spines. I know what I'm trying to say here. Some days the ability to talk and craft at the same time are not with me. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to take my small flap for my pocket and attach it down. Like so. And this one should line up exactly underneath this one. So I'm off just a tiny bit. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and put down my matting. Make sure it lines up where I want it to. Let's burnish that down first since I kept messing with it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, and this time I'm going to use the other side of the bottle brush trees, which is the cute little village piece. And we're going to put that down like so. And burnish that down. And then we can fold and burnish our pocket and adhere it down as well. Now, the whole reason we are putting the matting down before we put the pocket down is because the pocket is not exactly, or is 5 7/8 as well. So really, we could have waited. It would have been okay. But I didn't want to end up having where this was like shorter than it needed to be, if that makes sense. And honestly, I think I'm taking about another 1/2 inch off of this. Because it seems a little tall. There we go. Okay, so I ended up taking a 1/2 inch off of this, so this would have actually been 6 inches by 6 7/8 to start. Okay. I'm going to go ahead, put glue on all 3 tabs. And this is just going to go over here, even top to bottom, like so. And then this closes and this closes, like that. Okay. Next little flap elements that are going on top of here, and then we are pretty much almost done other than putting our cover together. Okay, so I have some more elements that are going to go on top here, and with the exception of one piece, really you can put these on in whatever order you would like. This is the only one that's going to have to go on this bottom piece, okay? So we're going to start with that one. So this is 2.5 inches by 8 7/8. We're going to start, help if I moved this out of the way, with the 8 7/8 at the top. We're going to score 1/2 inch, turn it, 1/2 inch, turn, and 1/2 inch again. And since this one does have to go on that piece, it can go front or back. It is entirely up to you. I am going to go ahead and put that one down. So, no, I'm not. Okay, I'm going to miter it though since I started cutting. So, we're going to miter that so it's ready to go. And that will go here. Really, all of these are going to go pretty much on this one or that other larger flap. So what I've got, since we had those 2 that we ended up not putting on that top section that are 5.5 by 6 and are already scored, I'm going to go ahead and use those somewhere in this middle section. Again, it's entirely up to you. I have a piece here that is 4 3/4 by 6.5 that I'm going to score at 1/2 inch with the 4 3/4 at the top. And then I have 2 pieces that are 5.5 by 5.5 that I am going to score at 1/2 inch. You know, if I can actually get this in here right and not move my paper before I score it. Okay, so what I am going to do is I am going to miter all of these pieces. If I can find my scissors again. Okay. Okay, get those all mitered. And the whole point in mitering is just when you're matting over that little piece you're attaching, is it just makes it go on, makes the edge of that not be so obvious, if that makes sense. Okay, that one I don't want to do yet. All right, so I'm going to take one of these 5.5 by 5.5, and I'm going to burnish that down. I'm going to put it on the front of this inside flap. And I'm just going to center it. Okay. I'm going to close this up now. And I am going to put this flap, and this is one of my no, not that one. My 5.5 by 5.5. I'm going to put it right here, centered up on the bottom of that larger flap. Okay. Like so. Then I can go ahead and fold and burnish my pieces for my pocket. And put those on. Okay, so those are all going to go like so. This one I am going to do what I would typically do, which is glue just that bottom on first. And burnish it down. And then I can do my sides, because this is going to be a very shallow pocket where you could just put some photo mats, that sort of thing. Okay, that one's going to go up and over. And then my little 4 3/4 by 6.5 is going to come down from the top up here. Like so. Except I need it to come this way just a hair. Okay. Finish that one down. So we've got that going like that. My other 5.5 is going to come like so. And we're going to line it up with the one below. And then this little guy is going to go on the top here. So we're going to have lots of little things that open up as you move down through the stack there. Okay, so that will go like so, and up and up and down, and then you can close all of that up and open this, and open this, and then you've got a pocket. Pretty cool. Okay, however, we do want another magnet, and this time I'm going to get one of my bigger ones. And we are going to put one of them up here. Actually, we're going to put it probably on the back side there. And then this, I am going to go all the way down here. So I'm not going to go down onto this section. I'm going to go onto the back of this flap. And I am going to tape that one down, close all of this up. That one should go like so, but I am going to attach it to the back of our top flap. Okay, and that's it. So this will close down in like so. This one will come up this way. This one will go on here once I mat it, and there is our whole little thing here. So we need to put our front together. Okay, so the Puffy Icons end up being the exact size of all of those little houses, what they would have been had we cut them out with the cut file, which I did not want to do. So I'm going to cut my matting for the front, which is going to be 5 7/8 by 7 7/8. And that's going to go right there like so. I am using kind of that silvery, it's got like a silvery shimmer to it with the little bitty polka dots. I absolutely love this for just being a good background print. I'll open this up flat like this so I can burnish that down really well. Okay, so I am going to tie this off on the sides. Like so. And then we can go ahead and put our piece on the front. Okay, so the idea is this will stand up like so. Okay, so when you put this piece on, you do want to stand this up so that you can attach it so that the bottom is flush with how this will stand, okay, like so. So I'm going to go ahead, flip that over. Stand this up. And then center it on our front. Okay, like so. Now I can go ahead and do my assembly for the top. And if you wanted to, in fact, I think I am going to. I'm going to find a really light gray ink, and I'm not sure which one I actually want here. So I am going to grab my scrap that I cut this off on and figure out which of the grays is really the lighter that I want to use. I think this needs re-inked desperately. Okay, because I think this one might be a little darker than I want, but maybe not. Maybe it's okay. We'll see. That's why we're testing it before we actually do it. Oh, nope, that's the one I want. Okay. So this is Oyster ink from Tailored Expressions. And I am going to very lightly ink, which I don't usually do with Doodlebug, but sometimes when you're doing the die cuts like this, whether it's with the doodle cuts or with the SVG files, sometimes you do kind of want that contrast to give it some depth. Like so. Okay, so this is the longer one. It goes on top. There is a slight, it is slightly smaller than your gray. That is on purpose. That is how the file is designed, because then it kind of outlines our little white pieces here, which is what we want. Okay, like so, and then I'm going to do the same thing again with this piece. Okay, put our second piece on. Like so, there we go. And then I am going to, I could probably do this a little bit better with like a small blending brush, but we're just going to go with it with the foam. We go slightly over, it's okay. But I'm going around the inside of those cutouts for the little brick pieces. And it's not perfect. I am getting a little bit outside. You can just barely see it there, and that's fine. Then I will go on my outside. And I loved how Cynthia, Mama Doodlebug herself, her sister Tanya, I'm sure you saw that posted, they posted their Christmas party, and her sister and her husband made her this piece out of wood, and it's absolutely adorable. And I honestly might take my SVG file and my Glowforge and make myself one. I haven't decided yet, because it would be super cute, and it would be a decoration that I could use for many, many years. And it would just be adorable. But I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to have time to do that, because, you know, we're a week and a half away, and I haven't wrapped anything. It's just going to be one of those years, I think. Okay. So again, there is a slight border around that. And then our little Santa just kind of goes right in here. I'm not sure if he actually goes like at an angle, or if he goes like straight in. I'm gonna have to look at the file again, so bear with me, I apologize. Okay, so he does go at a slight angle this direction, like so. Okay, so I am going to get glue on the back of him. And I am going to get him in here where he needs to go. Just going to be about right there. Oh my god, he's so cute. That is just going to be so much fun. Okay, so now all I need to do is use my little Puffy Icons across the top here. I can add my little stockings. Honestly, I kind of was debating, let's Let me grab my bits and pieces here. Hold on 1 second. Ugh. So I've got my bits and pieces, and I really could use that one, but I think that's going to cover up too much of him, and I don't want to do that. So that had been one of my initial thoughts, is that maybe I would do that. I really could also take some of these smaller spray pieces and do those like so, and do our little village, and then, you know, oh, I know what I didn't put on there yet. I knew I was missing something. We've got our cute little gray garland piece that goes on here. So that, it's gonna be tricky to glue, and I need my other glue bottle with like the smaller tip on it. Oh, it's right there. It is right here. I didn't know what I did with it. So I am going to kind of do this in stages as I go across. So I'm going to start on this end, and I literally just put glue on the back of this little piece that just hangs down, which I did not mean to do, but that's okay. Very easily wipe that off. And then I can kind of just hold this up and work my way across. The little gray dot pieces actually aren't too bad. It's these other, like, really thin ones that are kind of the tricky ones. Okay, so there's that. And then, like I said, with these, I am just going to use the glitter sprinkles, which I will grab those in just a second and kind of show you my plan, in so much as I have one, which, you know, when it comes to the decorating, sometimes I actually do have like the entire decorating of a project planned out, and I will literally design the pages around certain elements, like in the odds and ends. This time I do not have a plan, other than, of course, our little Santa here on the front. Okay, so that's going across like that. The sprinkles, and this was the other thing I wanted to see. So I've got my Chit Chat, and if you haven't seen these are puzzle trays. They are linked in my channel description. Because I was debating if I was going to do something like that, but I think that's covering up too much of our little shaker. But I can do this cute little Chit Chat piece with Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and that will actually go right up here above where I'm going to use my Puffy Icons to do my little village on the mantle piece here. So I think that's what one I'm going to use there. I will decide if I end up using these, and then I need my, I think they're in that second tray of odds and ends. There they are, the little stockings, because they are so cute when they're all filled. So I think we're going to do it just like that. I think that is perfect. Okay, so I've got that figured out. I may or may not, oh wait, don't I have like a smaller one? We do have those too. There are some small pieces that I could put on, actually, just like that, and then do our longer stockings on those ends. smaller ones in the middle. And then I just need my glitter sprinkles to finish decorating that. I'm going to put these guys back because I'm not going to use those. I'm going to use these bigger ones. And then with my little Puffy Icon village pieces up along the top. And that is how we are going to decorate the front cover. So there we go. I don't have anything else super earth-shattering for the inside of this. As always, thank you for watching. If you like this project, you want to be notified when I post new projects, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And I will see you again next time. I appreciate you stopping by. If you end up making this project, please share it and tag us. Tag me at Scrapping Under the Influence on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And also tag Doodlebug in the same places as well. And that's a wrap on this one. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!